Welcome to Cosmic Comics. This is Project Pegasus Saga Part 1. The 6-issue story arc of the Project Pegasus Saga begins in Marvel 2-in-1 issue 53. Before I get to the plot, I have to address that the name of the story is all over the board. The Project Pegasus Saga, the Saga of Project Pegasus, the Pegasus Project. It's almost as if Marvel wanted to try out every combination of these words. The story opens with Ben Grimm flying the Fantastic Four's pogo plane to Project Pegasus. He's feeling pressured for time, but this is most likely due to the fact that he bailed on Wundarr right after he was hurt and has been gone for over 2 months. As Ben brings the plane in for a landing, he reflects on his last visit to Project Pegasus and how he came tearing into the place. This was a pretty serious crime, but that's okay because Richard Reed smoothed things out. Mind you that this is the same Benjamin J. Grimm who said in Marvel 2-in-1 issue 38 that everybody's gotta take the rap for the way he acts. I ain't no exception. I'll bring this up again further into this saga when we see how Ben reacts to another person who breaks into Project Pegasus. Ben is here for a special security detail, and more than likely this is the only way he could get in to see Wundarr. He's expecting to take some flack over his previous visit as he enters the project, but is greeted professionally. Before he's given full access to the project, Ben is run through a battery of tests to establish his identity and allow for project monitors to be programmed for his presence. Afterwards, he's greeted by Myron Wilburn, one of the project directors, who gives Ben a card that allows him access to all parts of the project. Myron attempts to introduce the Thing to the project's security chief Quasar, but before he can finish, the Thing goes on the attack, mistaking Quasar for the Crusader, whose story is covered in my Marvel Boys series. Quasar jumps out of the way, amazed by the Thing's quick temper. Then, oh shit, the cape. Does he even need a cape? Anyway, Quasar thinks that the Thing might be putting him through the paces to test him out the way Captain America did after Cap was asked to lead the Super Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For more on that short-lived supergroup, see my Super Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. playlist. Quasar lands the first hit with a blow to the feet. It's interesting to note that at this point in time, Quasar often uses his wristbands offensively before using them for the containment of an enemy. We'll see this throughout the Project Pegasus Saga, and it's great to see Quasar's progression as a character as he learns to use his quantum bands more effectively over time. Case in point, right after Quasar uses his bands to effectively block a blow from the Thing, he encases him inside of an energy cage. He could have done this in the first place, but didn't consider containment to be the first option. At the time the story was written, it hadn't been developed that the Crusader was a clone of Bob Roberts. So as Quasar releases Ben, he comments on how he's wearing the same uniform as Marvel Boy, and how he and Bob have a striking resemblance. Quasar then recounts his origins, which can be found in more detail in my Quasar playlist. After the Super Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. broke up, Quasar landed the job at Project Pegasus with the help of some high recommendations from S.H.I.E.L.D. Command. As Quasar and the Thing step into the Cosmic Research Center, the Thing once again runs across Dr. Lightner. Dr. Lightner seems anxious to break off the conversation, and the Thing still remains suspicious of him. It turns out that those suspicions are warranted. We soon discover that Dr. Lightner is acting as Operative X for a mysterious group known as the Nth Command. He warns Nth Command of the Thing's presence, and he is told that he will be taken care of and to commence with Operation Berserker. The story then switches over to 7-foot-tall Thundra. She is from an alternate future reality where women are the dominant sex and rule the planet. Thundra's timeline has been forever altered, and in the meantime she remains in Earth 616 and finds herself in a life without meaning. Seemingly by chance, Thundra runs across a large man threatening a smaller, well-dressed one and decides to intervene on behalf of the smaller party. She easily takes out the larger man, telling him to take his punishment like a man as he tries to break through her, choking him. Herkimer J. Oglethorpe inquires as to if she is a wrestler, and Thundra replies that she is an undefeated champion of the sport. Herkimer is a wrestling promoter and promises Thundra the chance to make a lot of money through the chance of a lifetime. The two walk away together. Meanwhile, Quasar and the Thing have made it to the compound where Project Pegasus studies humans with energy manipulating abilities. On the way to see Wundarr, they pass the latent mutant Silas King, also known as Solaire. Wundarr is in a dark, open room. Ben is confused at first, but Wundarr's therapist, Dr. Janine O'Connell, says that Wundarr prefers it this way. I don't know how she would know that, since the next thing she says is that Wundarr is in a coma and doesn't respond to any stimulus. She then relates what happened after Captain America and the Thing left to pursue Victor Conrad. Wundarr was raised to the intensive care unit, still alive but unconscious. Upon entering the room, the lights went out. They moved him to another room, but the lights went out there as well. Wundarr was dampening the energy around him. Wundarr's powers used to only affect radioactive energy, but now it seems as though the extra dose of cosmic energy from the cosmic cube strengthened his abilities to the point where they now affect every type of energy. Anything that comes within 10 feet of Wundarr is shut down. The scientists can't even be certain what is wrong with him because none of their instruments will work around him. Ben runs in and tries to wake Wundarr up and feels his body lose strength as he nears. Ben is a little bit spooked about what happened, and Quasar assures him that Dr. O'Connell is one of the best child psychologists. Say what? A child psychologist for an unreactive grown man? Sure, Wundarr acts childlike, but he's not a child. I just get the feeling that Dr. O'Connell is here to pick up an easy paycheck on the government's dime. I mean, come on. Wundarr is completely unresponsive, and over the course of 1 month, she hasn't shown any results. With nothing else to do, Ben reluctantly goes to his room. While Ben settles into his room, Dr. Lightner leaves his. He's heading towards the Solar Research Facility and uses a device called a neural jammer to incapacitate the guards. Once he arrives, he temporarily shuts down the exterior defense perimeters. During this short lapse in security, a shadowy figure is shown sneaking into the project through a ventilation shaft. Always the downfall of any great fortress. We're given a few clues as to who the villain is before the big reveal. We're shown his boot and a maser gun. We're also told that no human eye would have been capable of finding the seam to the ventilation shaft. We switch back to Ben, who's lying in bed, fretting about Wundarr, but soon he's out and about wandering the halls of Project Pegasus in search of a good card game. We see that the Thing is being observed as he walks the halls. The penultimate page of the issue reveals the trespasser to be Deathlock. Or is it? There is no letters page for this issue. Instead, we get this really cool map of Project Pegasus. Better yet, as events happen throughout the rest of the saga, this map matches up with the events going on and makes for both a fun and neat resource. The story continues with the next issue and the next episode. Thanks for listening. Feel free to hit any of the buttons below. I'm out.